In this video, you're going to learn why, if you're over 40 like me, maybe even older, you should be doing push-ups and how you can do them properly with correct form. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share a couple of things that are hardly ever talked about, but will take your push-ups to the next level. So why are push-ups important for those of us over 40? Push-ups are a fantastic exercise for developing the upper body, especially the chest, arms and shoulders. This is because with a regular push-up, you are lifting 60 to 70% of your body weight, making it very effective. One reason is that the push-up itself is a fairly simple movement that can be done pretty much anywhere without equipment. Another reason push-ups are so beneficial is that they're really easy to scale the level of difficulty of the movement, i.e. the ability to make them easier or harder. These things make the push-up a great exercise for both beginners and experienced trainees who are over 40. However, a lot of people don't do them right, which makes the movement less effective and in some cases increases the risk of injury. This is something we want to avoid like the plague because, as you'll be well aware, as I am, that it takes longer to recover from injury when you get to our age. The most common mistakes I see are sagging of the hips or the opposite where the arse is sticking up in the air. Some other common mistakes that I see are people flaring their elbows out too much to the sides, not using the full range of motion, or not maintaining control of their shoulder blades during the movement. However, if done correctly, the push-up is not only safe for over 40s like us, but it can and will make you stronger and stimulate muscle growth. But no stress, this isn't rocket science. We aren't going to the moon, okay? The movement is simple, and when done correctly, it will challenge you. So let's talk about push-ups and how to do them properly so you can stay safe while increasing your baseline strength and building some muscle, even after 40. The first thing we need to talk about is body position and also full body tension, because if you get this right, everything else will fall into place and you'll avoid looking like a sack when you're doing the exercise. Think of the push-up as a moving plank. This isn't as simple as simply engaging your core. The top position of the push-up is essentially a plank, like I said. So to adopt this position, place your hands on the floor around shoulder width apart. Your hands should be either directly below your shoulders or ever so slightly towards your hips, all right? And your head should be in a neutral position. From here, you pretty much want to tense all your muscles from the feet up, all right? So you need to squeeze your quads and you'll kind of feel your kneecaps almost lift. Your thighs need to be pressed together and squeezed together. And your glutes, so your arse muscles, you need to clench those tight, and I mean really tight. Next, you need to squeeze your abs. Okay, this will tilt your pelvis and flatten your lower back, removing any excessive arching in your back. With your fingers fully extended, try to grip the ground or squeeze the ground, all right? And fully extend your arms so that your inner elbows and your biceps face forward. You may feel a slight stretch between your shoulder blades, especially if this movement's new to you, but this will stop the chest from sagging in that top position. If you can hold and maintain this position, you've achieved full body tension. So well done, you are ready to progress. If you can't hold and maintain this position, you're obviously struggling to maintain full body tension, and that's okay. You just need to adopt an easier variation of the push-up, such as an incline push-up or a wall push-up. If this is you, that's okay. Just keep an eye out for one of my other videos that covers push-up progressions. If I haven't done a video on that yet, just go up to the search bar on YouTube and type in incline push-ups and follow the instructions. Everything I've covered so far about full body tension still applies. Now, assuming that you can hold and maintain that top position of the push-up, it's time to get into the movement itself. Again, think of the movement like a moving plank, all right? You want to maintain that full body tension as you lower yourself to the bottom position and as you push yourself back up. The whole time you're under tension. If you fail to maintain this tension, this full body tension, your hips will start to sag and you start leaking energy essentially. Okay, this makes the movement more difficult and increases the likelihood of you getting injured. So as we start going through the movement phase of the exercise, if you find that you're not able to maintain full body tension, again, that's okay. Just pick an easier variation. incline push-ups, whatever, and do those instead. So let's walk you through the movement phase, starting with the lowering part of the movement. From the top position, start lowering yourself by bending your elbows and keep them either tucked into your sides, or you can allow them to flare out slightly into a arrowhead type position. Do not flare your elbows out too far into almost like a T. That is a recipe for disaster when it comes to your shoulder health. All right, you'll probably ruin your shoulders in short order doing them that way. So do not flare your shoulders, flare your elbows. Now, as you start to lower yourself, I want you to focus on squeezing your shoulder blades together, almost in a down and back movement. So, visualize trying to put your shoulder blades in your back pockets. This will keep your shoulder blades where they need to be and prevent your shoulders from ending up around your ears. Now, lower yourself as far as you can while maintaining full body tension, without your elbows flaring and without letting your shoulders come up around your ears. Now, once you're in that bottom position, push back up to the starting position while maintaining that full body tension and without flaring your elbows, letting your hips sag, or any of that. If you just did that successfully, then congratulations, you just completed a perfect push-up. You probably found it a lot more challenging than usual, and that's okay. In fact, it's good, because to grow stronger and to build muscle, you need to continually challenge your muscles. So keep practicing the movement and watch your strength improve and your muscles grow. Now that you've nailed the movement, let's talk about a couple of things that will take your push-ups to the next level. The first thing is range of motion, aka how far you lower yourself, okay? The minimum standard for military and law enforcement is achieving a 90-degree bend at the elbow. The gold standard, however, is to lightly touch your chest to the ground before pushing back up. To get the most out of your push-ups, you really need to achieve the gold standard as a minimum. The reason that we want to utilize a full range of motion is that it builds more strength and stimulates more muscle growth, okay, which is the whole point of doing the push-up in the first place, right? So don't shortchange yourself, harden up and just get it done, all right? Even better, if you want to get even stronger and stimulate even more muscle growth, you can do what are called deficit push-ups. To do deficit push-ups, all you're going to need is some weight plates or some yoga blocks, some bricks, whatever you have lying around that essentially will allow you to lift your hands a little bit off the floor and allow your chest to sink down below the level of your hands. This will generate a really good stretch across the chest, which again will stimulate more muscle growth and allow you to get stronger. Now, all that said, if you're a beginner who is just starting out with push-ups, it's okay if you can't lower yourself to the floor yet. If you can't quite get to that 90-degree bend yet, that's okay. No issues. All right, it just means you need to choose a suitable regression exercise that will allow you to get below that 90-degree bend. So if you're struggling with regular push-ups, do push-ups on your knees or go to an incline push-up, something like that, that will allow you to get past that 90-degree bend and utilize a full range of motion. And once you're strong at that exercise and you've dominated that exercise, come back to the regular push-up and get to work. So now that you understand full body tension, how to apply it, and you also understand the benefits of using a full range of motion, I want to talk to you about something that I call embracing the power of the pause. By simply adding a 1 second pause to the bottom of that push-up position, okay, it's going to prevent you from bouncing out of that bottom position using momentum, okay? That momentum is generated using stored energy in your muscles and your connective tissues, all right? And it just makes that push-up a little bit easier, okay? And we want to challenge ourselves. So by adding that 1 second pause, it prevents that bounce, all right? And really challenges the muscles to grind up out of that position. The pause and the subsequent grind up out of that bottom position will really challenge your muscles, forcing them to adapt by growing stronger and larger. So I have one more bonus technique around push-ups that I want to share with you today. But before I do that, what I want you to do is click on that subscribe button, like the video while you're at it, that'd be awesome. Okay, I really appreciate that, it really helps the channel out, so thank you. So this final technique, I don't take credit for it because I didn't create it, all right? I simply found out about this technique while reading a book called The Naked Warrior by Pavel, Really, really good book. He's a strength and conditioning coach from Strong First. If you haven't seen the book or heard about the book, I highly recommend you read it. I'll try and remember to add a link to the description so you can find it nice and easy. The reason that I want to share it with you is because, like I said, not many people know about it or use this technique, okay? But it is really beneficial, and it's not specific to the push-up, okay? This works across other exercises as well. I've found that it works well with kettlebells, barbells, and obviously body weight. This technique will allow you to engage the muscles that aren't directly targeted by the movement to assist the primary muscles that are targeted by the movement. So for example, primarily we're working things like the pecs and shoulders, but if we engage all the muscles right through our hands, stuff like that, you'll tap into some extra strength. It's about developing a mind-muscle connection, all right? And essentially we're firing up those accessory muscles or those surrounding muscles to assist those primary muscles to exert force, okay? And essentially you're tapping into some extra strength that you already have, but you haven't necessarily tapped into it before. So to use this technique when doing the push-up, it's really important you focus on what the muscles in your hands and your arms and lats and everything are doing, especially when grinding out of that bottom position. So when you're down in the hole, when you're down in that bottom position, you're about to grind back out, it's really important to focus on what your hands are doing. I want you to be gripping the floor as hard as you can, all right? And when you start to grind out, I want you to visualize turning your hands outwards in a screwing motion, all right? So your fingers should be, you're visualizing your fingers turning outwards, all right? Because you're working against an immovable object, i.e. the floor, okay, I don't want your fingers to actually turn out, all right? It's more a case of pushing against that immovable object, okay, and generating force in your fingers, in your hands, your forearms, everything, right? Then, as you begin to push further up out of that push-up, I want you to focus on kind of doing the same thing with your elbows, so that your elbows kind of driving them in towards the side of your body, all right? Engaging the lat muscles, the big ones under your armpits there, engaging those and kind of corkscrewing your arms until you're into that fully locked out top position. What this does is it fires up all those other little muscles, those stabilizing muscles, all that kind of stuff that aren't neglected per se, but that aren't directly involved in the pushing motion, all right? Fires them up, recruits them, and then they assist those primary muscles with the push, okay? This allows you to generate more pushing force and makes the push-up actually feel a little bit easier. And like I said before, this is strength you already have, okay? You just haven't tapped into it before. Essentially, it's a mind-muscle connection, all right? And it's a skill. So you need to practice it every time you do a push-up, and over time, it'll become second nature, and then it will transfer to other exercises. So if you take what you've learned today and apply it, you'll quickly start to see real results with your push-ups. The key is to be consistent. Patience will also help. Don't try and push through your reps and sacrifice form for quantity. Instead, focus on doing all your reps with perfect form. If you do push-ups the way I've explained in this video, it will make them more challenging. This will mean that it's more than likely that you won't be able to do as many push-ups as you used to be able to do before. Okay, but who cares? It doesn't matter if you can't do the same number of reps you could before, okay, because the reps you were doing before weren't as high quality as the ones you are now doing, all right? And quality matters more than quantity. So park your ego and focus on quality repetitions, and gradually increase your number of reps as you build your strength. Now, before I go, I want you to think about your own push-up technique. Are there any areas where you can improve? Are there any mistakes that you've been making that you now know how to correct? And hey, I'd love it if you could share those experiences in the comment section below, not just for me, but for other people. Now, for those of us over 40, there's an old saying that you've probably heard before that may be relevant. The saying is, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to know more about remaining fit and functional over 40, subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.